video. I'm going to be checking out the FSX Steam Edition. I downloaded it quite a while ago when it was on sale for $2.99 or something ridiculous like that. It's currently $19.99, which is still pretty ridiculous. Well worth it. The reason I'm doing this is because in my prepared 3D videos, I quite often say to people, you know, if you want to get into Flight Sim, this is probably the best way to go to start with, at least. The main difference between, this is prepared here, the main difference between these two is that in prepared 3D, Lockheed Martin, which are the company who developed this, basically used the same code from FSX, the Microsoft version, or kind of a version pre-FSX to basically have the basic coding for this, and then on top of that, they've tweaked it and made it more compatible with modern graphics cards and also multi-core CPUs. So it performs better and it looks better because this thing is stuck in DirectX 9 with a kind of DirectX 10 preview setting, which does work, but you need a little bit of tweaking to get it to work properly. So basically this looks better. If you've got modern hardware, this is the one to go for. There is an issue with this because the licensing behind it requires that you are learning to fly or in a flight school, the academic version. The professional version is really expensive. So that's the option. With this, you just buy it and you can play it. So anyway, I recommend getting this first. If you've never played any flight sim games before, then this would be a good option to do. So I've just downloaded it. As I said, I bought it a few months ago when it was on sale. Didn't even bother to download it, but now's the time. So I'm going to see what is different about this, because this is better than the FSX boxed version. So I'm told. So okay, this is. Oh, well that. Let me just kill that. That music is very nostalgic. It definitely, that takes me back. Okay, so settings. You're going to want to go to this pretty. Well, no, that's not true. Let's basically go to a free flight. This is the standard default flight. We don't really want the trike. Let's go through some of the aircraft that you get. This is new, this helicopter. All of this other stuff is pretty much the same as the boxed edition. Yeah. So we'll just go in a default aircraft. Let's see. Let's just go in a 172. And you have to click yes to a lot of these things that come up, these instrument things. You only have to do it once. It's quite annoying the first time, but once you've done it, you never have to do it again. Okay, and then we'll select, I don't know, somewhere. Let's just go to, we'll go to Gatwick, EGKK, which is my nearest international airport, and we'll make sure we're on day. That'll do. Okay, now the other thing we need to do is I need to go to settings, and I'm hoping it's found my controllers, which it has. Yeah, it looks like it's found all of them. Whether they're set up or not, I don't know. There is support for FSUI PC now, so I believe. But like I said, I just want to try this without doing anything to it and see what happens. So it's found my 970. It's found the correct. No, it hasn't actually. We want 1080. We want this one, 920 by 1080. I tell you what, we're going to leave everything as it is to start with, free flight, and we'll just see basically what happens. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Considering that I went from FSX to P3D about a year ago, I would say. I haven't used FSX since, but if this performs well and if this doesn't crash as often as the old boxed version did, then I might be changed. Okay, so here we are. So it's recognizing my hat switch. You can see things are not quite calibrated, so actually we better do that. So again, what do we need to do? Options, settings, controls, calibrate. Let's do the flight yoke. Oops, advanced. Come on. Okay, well it's working, but I want to calibrate it. Perhaps we have to calibrate it in Cytec's own I thought we could do it from here. Yoke. Okay, anyway, let's not worry too much. We'll do our best. I mean, everything... okay. So what's happened there is that something has changed the views. So if we go to controls again, control axes, we just need to make sure that anything to do with the yoke, actually the throttle quadrant, to do with the views, there we go, throttle axis, oh no, that's fine. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to views here, and we'll just make sure that everything on the joystick, that should be okay. Right, we'll just delete this, and we'll also delete this. Okay, well, it's jerky as hell, as you can see. So far, I have to say, I'm not that impressed. Okay, I'm just going to pause it. That is pretty awful. So, let's just have a little look in here. Let's try DirectX 10. What do we need? We need to restart in order to do that. Okay. These need to be... Okay. That's fine. I'm going to turn traffic off, because that is an absolute frame killer. And it's worth just putting it all down to 0. Let's see what that does. Hopefully it's helped the jerkiness of it. I was kind of hoping for better smoothness, especially given my new graphics card. Anyway, let's see. So, I mean, you can see those micro stutters happening. That's really disappointing. Obviously, this is out of the box scenery, so it's not going to look amazing by any means, but I really wasn't expecting it to be this jerky. Okay, let me try another thing. So what we're going to do is just drop the settings right down. So we'll go, we'll get rid of all this stuff. Scenery, I guess we can go down a bit. I wouldn't want to go down too much, to be honest. That can come down. Everything else needs to be pretty much there. Let's see what effect that has. Okay. Well, it's a little bit better. But it's not great. I mean, it's flyable. Okay, alright, I've got something weird. Yeah. Something very strange happening with my yoke. So anyway, so not with my yoke, with the throttle quadrant. I'm moving the throttle now and letting you, it's changing the views. So obviously, you know, I would need to set this up properly, and you know that's my fault, not the fault of the software. But it looks like it still needs quite a bit of tweaking to get it running nice and smoothly, which is a bit of a shame, I have to say. I was expecting a bit more from it, given the claims. But, you know, maybe it's my system that's not configured properly with it. I don't know. I find that slightly hard to believe. Maybe, this is more likely, maybe I'm spoilt with Prepared and making the switch and never really going back to FSX. So maybe it's that. But anyway, I hope this has been useful in some way. I really hope it hasn't put you off. Because this you can get FSX working and looking extremely nice. Not quite P3D standards, but pretty close. And it does, you know, it requires a little bit of work. And I'm sure that it would take less work on the Steam edition than it would on the boxed edition. So I hope that is a fair review. And yeah, don't forget that I've literally loaded it and fired it up. So I've not done any tweaking or any playing around with the settings other than what you've seen. So yeah, I hope that hasn't given you a bad impression, because I've heard really good things from other people who've used it and said once you've got it running right, it's brilliant and much more stable. So there we go. That's my view. I still think it's probably a good option if you haven't been into Flight Sim at all. Don't forget X-Plane 10. X-Plane 10 is also excellent. It's a 64-bit application, excuse me. And it does require a lot of downloading of scenery to get it looking good, but you'll very rarely come up against out of memory issues, and it will run smoothly. And also the flight modeling in X-Plane 10 is very, very good. You can also get that on Steam. So I don't want to put words in your mouth or don't want to give you ideas, but having seen them both side by side, I think I would probably choose X-Plane 10, I have to say. But there's good that there's a middle ground. There's this Prepared 3D that is absolutely phenomenal in my eyes. But anyway, I hope that's given you a little bit of a clue and a bit of information about what's out there. And yeah, I hope you get into Flight Sim and enjoy it and have some fun with it. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again in the next video. Take care.